Good afternoon from a parking lot in St. Augustine. We're going to Ripley's today. Ripley's in St. Augustine. We're gonna do a ghost tour, we're gonna do a red train tour, and we're going to do just a tour of the building, but it's raining right now. Let's go get some lunch first. The last time we were here, we were around the back side of this cemetery. This time we're around the front side. And it looks real scary. I'm excited for the ghost tour tonight. I hope we get to go in here. What if we do? What if this is like a super haunted cemetery? And that's another question. Are all cemeteries haunted or just some of them? I have a question. Do you guys think that they've done some work on this gravestone, or is this the original one? Because there are other ones next to it that are not looking as good as this one. Or is this a new one maybe? We're back down St. George Street, the like oldest street in St. Augustine. We're gonna stop by the Bull and Crown Public House, see what they have to offer. Ooh, I got a club sandwich, and it looks delicious. Heck yeah. I think that's one of the trolleys that we're gonna take later. Ooh, and now for the main attraction. We're heading to Ripley's, believe it or not, auditorium in St. Augustine. And later we're gonna take a red train tour. There's like a reproduction of David, but he's naked. So they put him behind this like shrubbery. Is this how big the real David is?
I believe so.
Stinking gigantic. One of the things that we have planned for today is a haunted tour, and apparently this building is haunted, so I'm excited to see what we see. Maybe we'll see something exciting. We just found out that this is the original museum for Ripley's, believe it or not. We haven't even made it all the way inside yet. And there's a Jack Sparrow right here made out of recycled metal parts. Looks like stuff from a junkyard. Robert Ripley had a one-eyed dog named Cyclops. Okay, as it turns out, because we got here a little bit later in the day, we have to go on the red train now, because this is the last one for the day. It's okay though, we still got plenty of time to go through the museum once we get back. Magic! We're getting on our red train trolley. The only problem is it looks a little bit wet. That's okay though. We can go inside this little house here that was carved out of an old log.
Now your eyes are not deceiving you.
They're not?
On the other side of the very tall bushes, that is Michelangelo's David here on the right.
Oh.
No, it is not the original David. We would be in trouble if it was.
Why?
It's a reproduction made out of marble obtained from the same quarry as the original.
Oh.
So what does that mean? It means I just saved you $36. That's how much it will cost you to see the original in Florence, Italy.
The tram driver said that these statues, there's one on either side, are the most valuable in Robert Ripley's collection because they used to sit on his lawn.
On our right is the Visitors Information Center. It was the last building made out of coquina, a prehistoric shell rock. Up on the right, the old public burial ground. Also buried in the cemetery, 710 victims of the yellow fever epidemic of 1821. A greenhouse. Look in the front yard, left-hand side, you will see a large oak tree. Look up at the oak tree, 9 feet from the ground. There's a palm tree growing out of the center.
Whoa.
It is called the love tree. When you kiss the one you love under the tree, you will remain together forever, just like those two trees will.
That's amazing.
Wanted the city gates gone, coming up on the left. They said that they were too old, falling apart, not needed anymore. They sent men out here to take them down with sledgehammers. The men were met by 8 elderly ladies who said, please stop tearing apart the old things here. We need to protect and preserve them for the future. The men said, that's nice, ladies, now move. They said no. They stayed out there for 4 days and 4 nights. They formed the first preservation group in our town. We still have them here today. So Leon and Christopher Columbus, they were sailors, they owned ships, and loyal men working with them. And they each believed something quite amazing. They believed that the earth was round, and they wanted to travel around the planet, but they didn't have the money for a big trip like that. So they went and had a talk with the king, and he laughed at them, called them foolish and crazy, said to them that everybody knows the earth is flat, told them their ships would literally fall off the edge, but they wouldn't be there when that happened because the sea dragons and monsters in the ocean would eat them. So of course he gave them no money. Well, they didn't give up. They went and had a talk with the Queen, Queen Isabella. She believed in them and got them the money they needed. They made those trips, and we are here today as a result of that. Coming up on the right is a pink wall. On the other side of the pink wall, the last remaining piece of property in the entire city, still owned by the Spanish government today, along with a beautiful statue of Queen Isabella. Henry Flagler made his first million in the sale of grain. He had hotels, he had the railway. Flagler was the second wealthiest man in the country. Flagler fell in love with this town. He was going to build the finest hotel the world had ever seen, somewhere where he could invite all of his rich and wealthy business friends and associates. Coming up on the right, the property Henry acquired. Here he built the Ponce de Leon Hotel. In 1968, Mr. Flagler's hotel turned into Flagler College. 2,600 students attend the school today. Thomas Edison actually installed the electrical system inside this building. There was electricity here 4.5 years before the White House in Washington, D.C. would get electricity. Coming up on the right, a nice statue of Mr. Flagler standing in front of the college today. Coming up on the left, the statue of Don Pedro Menendez, the founder of our city. The statue was a gift from his hometown, our sister city, Avila, Spain. The beautiful house on the right, completely restored, Thomas Jefferson's great-great-granddaughter's house. Today it's a nice restaurant called Preserve. Now our next stop will be at the St. Augustine Distillery. They have a very nice restaurant, a bar, a gift shop, and a museum. As part of their free tour, they will mix you a complimentary cocktail. And if you're not 21 or you don't drink alcohol, they got something there for you as well. Lemonade, actually. Coming up on the right, pointing out to the Atlantic Ocean, which he crossed in 1513, the statue of Juan Ponce de Leon, pointing out to the Atlantic Ocean, 4 feet 11 inches tall, folks. That's how tall he actually was. In just a moment, I'm going to show you a signed piece of Tiffany stained glass. There are only 3 signed pieces of his work that exist in the entire world, and one is inside the church on the left. Here on the right, the disappearing angel. Look to the right, you'll notice the door handles of the Wells Fargo Bank and what they say, and some of the photographs in the window.
The handle said Woolworths. Just started raining, so they gave us ponchos to put on. To admit, that was a really good tour. It did start raining at the end, which wasn't as nice, like it stinks, but they did give us free ponchos, so we could still ride in the rain. The last stop that they made was at the fort, which was, we'll put a link to the video from the fort right here, the last time that we visited. So now we are officially inside of the very first Ripley's Believe It or Not museum and auditorium. This is pretty interesting. This is an African bronze judgment chair. Basically, they thought this chair had the ability to make people tell the truth. Here's the Last Supper, made entirely out of pecans. Well, that's really interesting. Here's the original fireplace for what this building used to be, which was a private residence or a hotel for William Warden. Here's an original stained glass window from the building, which was known as the Castle Warden, because this used to be a private residence for William G. Warden, the founding partner of Standard Oil. Holy cow. This is intense. It's a pretty awesome forced perspective hallway. Makes you feel like you're shrinking because all the pictures are getting smaller and the door's small at the end of the hallway here. And the roof got lower too. I think this is the original Fiji mermaid. That is amazing. It's Harry Potter. There's a chainsaw here. And it said that the alphabet is engraved on this pencil, and each letter was engraved with a chainsaw. There's some Walking Dead portraits that were painted with barbecue sauce. There's an Iron Maiden here, and there's a person projected on the inside of it. Ooh. Where are they? This looks like it was made with a giant erector set. Oh, it is, yeah, it was made out of erector set stuff. That is really impressive. Matchstick model of the European Space Agency's Jules Verne spaceship, or space station. And there's a matchstick version of the International Space Station up there with a space shuttle on it. I have a whole bunch of signatures of astronauts here, which is really interesting. It's Alan Shepard's signature. There's a golf ball that Alan Shepard hit while on the moon. This is a Russian space glove that has actually been in space. I like that I called it a space glove. This is the world's largest feline hairball from a 13-pound cat named Sachet. This is all carved out of camel bone. This wreath is made from human hair. Ooh, that's interesting. This is the world's rarest egg. It's from the extremely rare elephant bird from Madagascar. Here it is next to some ostrich eggs. It's gigantic. Some more letters from Wayne Harbor. You guys remember when we were at the Ripley's in Orlando, they had a whole desk full of these. I think those may have been reproductions, but these are real versions. He would write to different places and question what Ripley was saying to see if it was true or not. This whole ornate piece of clothing, I guess, is made out of human bones. There is an Abraham Lincoln life mask here. I guess they sculpted his face while he was still alive. Usually you see these as death masks, but this one was while he was still alive. These shoes are size 22 Converse All-Stars. They're gigantic. Oh, this is a bust of Robert Ripley that was sculpted by a blind man. He just felt Robert Ripley's face and then sculpted this. This is a mummified human hand. Wow. There's a mummified cat in there. Here is some of John F. Kennedy's hair. Remember when we were at the other Ripley's and we thought that the amount of Elvis hair was a very little bit? Holy cow. You know what there is more of though? Woolly mammoth hair. That's so cool. Megalodon tooth, a T-Rex tooth, and a T-Rex egg. This is a motorcycle made out of bones. This is a dress made out of coffee filters. Here's one made out of newspapers. Here's a better look at that matchstick International Space Station. That's really impressive to me. This is some Russian cosmonaut food. That's really neat. Space food. There's a portrait of the space shuttle made out of keyboard keys. Can you guys see it? Like if I back up a little bit, it's a little bit clearer. Here's a lock of Chewbacca hair, not Peter Mayhew hair, but Chewbacca hair. I think I dare. Oh no! Somebody should probably do something about that person trapped in there. They have two boxes here. They say that a seasoned contortionist can get inside a box this big, and this is the one to practice with. I'm gonna try that one.
Here we go, butt first.
Is that, should I go face first? Oh, you mean with like this?
Yeah.
I don't know how they can do this. I think I'm stuck. Looks like they've got maybe a demonstration of alligators over here. Let's see. Oh, I'm falling into the alligator bin. Apparently this guy could go up the stairs by bouncing on his head. This right here is an original limelight. So the term stepping into the limelight comes from P.T. Barnum. He made these things that burned off powdered lime, and they were the first stage lights ever used. This is pretty neat right here. I like this. So there she is, right? And then we go to the other side of the wall. A ghost! Here's an actual working camera that was made out of a beer can. It's like a spy camera. There's the snake skin from a python. Look at the size of this thing. Holy cow. In 1968, Jackie Koenig of Chicago made a chewing gum wrapper chain that took 4 years to build and cost over $2,000 in gum. It's 634 feet long. Oh, gross. This vest is made out of human hair. It looks very nice, but it's pretty gross. They have some more of Elvis's hair and a little sample of a curtain from Graceland. It's amazing. There's a little pirate shooting gallery here. I like this. This message serves to prove how our minds can do amazing things, impressive things. In the beginning, it was hard, but now on this line, your mind is reading it automatically without even thinking about it. Be proud. Only certain people can read this. I don't know about that.
3, 2, 1. Now check your shadow on the wall.
Oh, look at that. There's my shadow. I have a sword. Look at that. I'm sword fighting. Look like Peter Pan. Oh, not this again. Alright, here we go. It reminds me of Horror Nights. Every time. Oh, this one's much better than Orlando's. Look at all these people trying to make funny faces in here. And they have no idea that we're on the other side of the glass. I don't know what it is, but something about this museum just kind of like changed me. Just can't really put my finger on what it is though. Do you guys notice anything different about me? There's a big anchor that was pulled out of the bay just outside of where the fort sits. Starting to see some blue skies off in the distance, which is good. This tree was 1900 years old and stood 267 feet high. And then somebody, I don't know if it got cut down or if it fell down, but somebody turned it into a house. A 4-room house, hand carved from a redwood log. Let's go inside. What if there's like somebody living in here? Let's see. Is it locked? Oh, it's locked. Dang. Now that we're done with Ripley's and the red train trolley, gotta head back to the car, get the camera that works really good at night, and head back for the ghost tour. Yes, let's go on the ghost train. We got an EMF detector, I think.
Yeah.
And a laser grid. Push the button. Let's see what we got here. So hold it. We did it. There's ghosts everywhere. We're getting on our ghost train.
Just celebrated our city's 451st anniversary. So we've been in the city for 451 years. But the fun part really comes in when we make our stops tonight. We're going to be making 3 stops. We'll be getting off of the train and investigating in different places. And if you're taking a series of photographs like that and you capture something, more than likely you'll see that phenomenon migrating from frame to frame to frame. That's when you know you've caught something truly legitimate. So take a series of photographs and use your phone. As far as the tools that we gave you folks at check-in, mix all these little green dots. How we use these on the ghost tour tonight is project these maybe against the ground or against the wall in front of you. You're going to hold it really still and you're going to take pictures at those little green dots, okay? We find sometimes we go back to people's photos where they've used these, sometimes these little green dots will hit things. Reflect off of things. We're going to gather inside this little building for a couple minutes. I'm going to chit chat with you, tell you why we're here. Then I'm going to turn you loose out on the property. That is your chance to investigate. So most importantly, what that means is snapping lots of photographs.
Where we are right now is what's left of something called the Old Florida Museum. What this place was a living history museum that showed the different eras of St. Augustine's history, dating all the way back to the Timucuan Indians. So this museum has been abandoned for about 10 years now. So we came out to investigate the property, and we got some really great photos, but we didn't really know why. We found out that this was actually once part of a 60-acre orange orchard. Not only were people living here on the property, working here on the property, but they were also dying here and being buried here. So we found out really weird things too, like when they put in US 1 right out here, they relocated all of those graves, all of those bodies that were buried. They literally dug them up and moved them. What that meant is that they actually dug them up and moved them, but it was only Fairbanks' family members. They left everybody else. And they're all still out here. This corner of the property is where all those burial grounds actually start, and they extend out beyond where that fence and that wall is to the parking lot. So that's kind of a cool little area over there in the back corner. See if you get any cool photos or meter readings, anything like that.
So back here is where the graveyard begins. You guys see anything back here? Turn on my laser pointers. You guys might have to pause the video every time that there's a flash and see if you see anything in the flash of the video, because there are people around me taking photos with their flash photography in order to try to catch some orbs. Here's the Native American hut back here. Ooh, the haunted frog. Where's your, let me see your meter.
It's because of the air conditioner back there. That's why the
Don't
meters are
ruin it.
Oh. Well, this is interesting. Hey, Brian, take a photo over here. He said that each one of these paintings is St. Augustine's most famous ghost stories. And they have a little sign on the side that tells you what each story is.
An orb is going to look three-dimensional, so it's going to look like a glowing ball of light. If you get something that looks very flat in your photo, if you can't tell it's three-dimensional, disregard it. We're going to go to the Castillo de San Marcos, the fort, the battleground at the Castillo de San Marcos.
This is the oldest standing stone structure in this country. So they started building this back in 1672, and it took 23 years for them to finish building it. And it was obviously put here for a reason. It was put here to help protect St. Augustine. There were several battles here in St. Augustine, but the biggest one was back in 1702. In that battle alone, there were almost 800 British soldiers that lost their lives. 800. So they literally dug these trenches like 2 feet deep, kicked the dead and the dying into those trenches, covered them back up with dirt. They are all still out here to this very day. This is actually one of the largest unmarked cemeteries in northeastern Florida. Welcome to St. Augustine. Right?
That wall over there was used for executions. I forgot to do this too.
This little body of water right here next to us, do any of you have any idea what the name of that body of water is?
Matanzas River.
Does anyone know what Matanzas translates to English to?
Massacre.
Massacre?
Yeah, massacre.
Massacre, slaughter, murder.
Apples.
That's what it translates to, by the way.
Well, that was pretty fun. Like, I wish that it was a little bit longer, and I wish there was less people on the tour, but I understand, like, that's kind of the nature of the beast. But I don't know, I had a lot of fun. I wish, I don't know, it was like exciting. I do wish that it was like, oh, here's a ghost. But I know that that's never gonna happen. So, still give it a thumbs up. We came back onto St. George Street on our way back to the car, and there's nobody out here. A little bit frightening. Do you guys remember the last time we were in St. Augustine? I went into the old drugstore, but I didn't film anything because it was just me and the owners in there. This is the stuff that I was looking at in there. Lots and lots of old-timey drugs. Ernest Hemingway and Johann Sebastian Bach. Oh. And that's gonna do it for us here from St. Augustine, Florida. The Ripley stuff was amazing. I really enjoyed the red train trolley. I think that was my favorite part because it was very informative, and I got to see a lot more of the city than I saw last time. And I also enjoyed the Ripleys up here because there was a lot of original artifacts, like stuff from Robert Ripley's original collection. And I liked the ghost train tour too. I wish we had seen more on the ghost train tour, but I know, like, it's ghosts. What are you gonna do, right? So with that being said, we are off, and I will see you guys tomorrow. And now it's time to pay the price.